In this series of videos from a podcast we recorded on June 6th, we take a look at 12 iconic movie scenes from the 1980s, where we discuss things like pop cultural impact, instant recognizability, even how it got parodied in other movies and media. At the end of the podcast, we try to figure out which scene was the most iconic out of the 12. For the list of rules we followed in deciding which scenes to use, please look in the description. And if you like what you see, please subscribe to our channel.
Oh my
Dead
god!
Poets, all
This
right.
is my captain.
Yes, and this, I love Dead Poet Society.
It's a great
One of
movie.
my favorite
Yes.
Robin Williams movies, definitely before he got more in the
Yes.
serious one, doing more serious roles, because this was kind of a good mix. Ethan Hawke, I was always a fan of too. This whole movie is powerful. I love this. This is, I'm not going to say best, but one of my favorite Robin Williams movies ever. And yes, this end, because at the time Robin Williams in the movie, he got fired because one of the other students who played Wilson in House, I forget his name and the actor's name, but committed suicide, and because of all that, they pinned it on Robin Williams. Different teaching styles, and the fact that he got to some kids, and they stood up for him, and I like the fact that it wasn't all the kids, because it just shows what kind of teachers go through. You can reach to some kids. You're never going to reach to all of them. I will be honest, this is another personal thing. I think I just like kind of like Breakfast Club, like the emotional teenage stuff when they stepped up and, oh, Captain, my Captain, and that music starts. Like, I get goosebumps just thinking about it. But yes, to me, and a great
fantastic.
ending, perfect ending to this movie. So.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, and of course, obviously, some people are sitting down because they don't want to be part of this. Because, like, some people's, like, their reputations are tied to, like, all that stuff. So it's like, there's a lot of class, like, examination, like, in this movie as well and stuff. And it's like about doing the right thing, or the honorable thing and shit like that. So, I mean, but I love serious Robin Williams. I always have. I don't want to bring up Good Will Hunting and get, anybody in a flame war on our comments about it. Now that we've adequately discussed how that movie ends, but no, I love this movie. It's great. It kind of feels like I'm due for a rewatch on it as well. But yeah, great ending, fantastic.
And I will say, because I actually did rewatch this recently within the last month. Before all this even happens, this whole end scene is because the old teacher comes back, and Robin Williams in the beginning of this movie had every kid rip out that first page of the poetry book, because he didn't like, he's like, you can't grade poetry. It's, everything is how you feel. Everyone's going to interpret it differently. What reaches to you, Soto, is not going to reach me, vice versa. So the fact that, the teacher's like, hey, let's just start from the beginning. And they're all like, we don't have that page. Why not? And it just, the whole thing led up to this. And yeah, like I said, it is an iconic scene. Maybe not the most iconic, but for me, again, one of my favorite, because I think you joked about teenage angst and stuff like that, but high schoolers and just the emotional impact on this, I think, which is so fucking great. And again, I'm a huge Robin Williams fan, and it's hard not to root again. You root for Robin.
All the time. Love Rob Williams.
Excuse me. The next one's Dirty Dancing. Yes, I know you knew. We all know this one. The end scene to Dirty Dancing. I'll be honest, not a huge fan of the film. I do know it. It's got some parts, but it's nothing that I watch. But I obviously know the end, the whole dance sequence. No one puts baby in the corner, and obviously this. Such as much as I know this isn't my kind of movie, and I've watched it a few times as a kid and teen. This is the iconic moment. You see this parodied time and time and time and time again, to the point that it is overdone. But when you see this again and you watch it, you just, again, I know they had issues on set in real life, but the magic between them worked in this film. And yes, as far as dance movies, this is probably one of the most iconic ones that I can think of. And yes, this end and this whole thing was just iconic. But yeah, I wasn't as much in love. I did grow up with four sisters, so I did see this more than I did, and I didn't mind it. I think it's not my cup of tea at that age, but I did see it quite a few times, and there's some things I
couldn't relate to it. You know what I mean? Like, because all the females in my life absolutely love this. Obviously, my wife does too, and I love Patrick Swayze as well, but all the females in my life that love Dirty Dancing fucking love Dirty Dancing. And it's like they quote it from, I carried a watermelon. You know what I mean?
Right when you said that, I remember that scene. Sorry.
I remember these things because I've been around so many females. I grew up in a house full of women. And I've been obviously in multiple relationships, so this movie's always on, and I know Sarah loves this movie too. And yeah, I mean, it never struck a chord with me because I just never like put myself in Jennifer Grey's position with Patrick Swayze. I did have a crush on Jennifer Grey, but that's because I really had a crush on her in movie crush, a crush on her in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, because she was the angry fucking sister who like Charlie Sheen and her end up making out at the end. Uh, but I was like, I don't know. I was like, damn, this girl's spicy. I love her.
Mhm.
So yeah, no, I mean, I've seen this a gajillion times. I love Patrick Swayze. Obviously, we've covered Roadhouse quite a bit, and as far as how Patrick Swayze works. But from a pop culture standpoint, there's no denying that this is like absolutely one of the greatest like moments of all time, movie wise.
Yep.
Like you said, parodied ad nauseum. Even in the '80s, it was parodied. I think probably now, like this generation might not fully get it. Um, Heaven forbid they try to remake this in any sort of way. I think they've tried to do like multiple sequels and stuff, but they just couldn't capture that original magic between Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey.
Agreed.
I
Agreed.
think that obviously that you always hear those stories too about people on set who have issues with each other. Sometimes that translates really well on film, and it makes for like iconic like stuff, and you hear afterwards being like, "Oh, they didn't like each other," but it just works. But you cannot. I don't care what the fuck technology ever comes out for movies. You cannot recreate the chemistry that these two had in this movie, no matter what fucking happens. It might be different between two other people, and they might have a different kind of chemistry, but this chemistry that they had was like a fucking lightning bolt in this entire movie, and for the '80s as well, and I think for much longer to come too. So um, next time it comes on, I'll give it a good watch, I guess.
Just remember, we're old. We can't pick anyone up like this. Do not try. Do not try.
If I picked
Uh,
up my wife like this, and this is me with my body right now, I would literally I would probably just like fold, like, or I would definitely be in pain. I am not a spring chicken, that's for sure.
no, because you. This is one
Oh
of
my
my
God.
favorites, but I know you talk about how sad and scary this was in some scenes. But this scene in particular,
Yes.
this scene, ET in particular, the bike in front of the moon,
I don't
you
remember
know,
that. Well, I mean, of course, this is like Amblin's, like, this is Steven Spielberg's, like, fucking whole thing.
obviously, yes, it became a logo, but in the movie, the kids. I mean, it happened twice, and I
Did it?
believe, yes, because what happened was there's one where Elliot was about to go off a cliff, and ET kind of took him up, and then if you remember, they were running away from cops, which in now the special edition DVDs, they changed the guns into walkie-talkies, and they're trying to
No.
stop all the yes,
No.
we'll save that for another day. The special edition changes that we hate,
Oh, that's
but then
just
all the
like
kids
fucking
go
with
up.
the
So
art.
yeah, but anyhow, it happened twice. But the first time it happens, ET saving Elliot, and they go across the moon. Obviously, it was a great scene in the movie, and
Yes.
yes, it's been another
It's an
scene that's been
iconic
parodied,
shot.
and it's
Yeah.
exactly, and like you said, it's like now the logo and stuff like that. But it is
For
just you
Amblin,
just see
yeah.
it, even if people who don't see them, they just see it, and they just know. I know some people love or hate the movie because it is a little long. There's some parts that drag, especially
Yeah.
nowadays. But I still love ET, and yes, this
It's more terrifying than anything. It's more
I remember you
terrifying than
saying that.
Jaws. Like,
Well, I don't know about that. I mean,
well,
but
Jaws, you never even see the fucking shark, right? And it's like, the whole thing that happens. But this is like, there's some terrifying things that happen, like, that are very disturbing for children to watch. And I'm only speaking for myself because there are scenes in this that I still remember. Like, this, and I've talked about this, I'm sure, but like when they're
yes,
trying to resuscitate him with the fucking paddles,
yep.
and like he's fucking, or they find him like all white in a ditch in a creek. This shit was fucked up, man. Shit was fucked up. This movie's fucked up. I never think about E.T. and I never even want to rewatch it because it's like I don't have pleasant memories about E.T. Like I know Drew Barrymore's in it, but I remember Elliot calling his brother penis breath, which that stayed with me for a long time. Um,
Yep.
because I was like penis breath, and at the time that I watched it, I was like penis breath. What? I didn't understand why a penis. Yeah, I couldn't put the two together. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that stayed with me a little bit. But yeah, this movie is like I don't know. Like, I really don't know how to categorize this among Steven Spielberg films. Obviously, Steven Spielberg is a genius and iconic as a director himself. With this shot alone, yes, this is one of the most iconic shots, and you know exactly what it is. But this movie overall, just it just
And
kind
I
of
can,
gets
yeah,
weird
I
for
know
me.
we've had this talk about it being scary, and it wasn't for you. And I know, like I said, I love it, and I know we talked about it
You were
dark
older than
times.
I was when
I,
you
I
saw
got
it.
you by
That's what it
4 years,
was.
but I
Yeah,
also, like I said, but if we're just looking at scenes, iconic scenes,
scenes.
yeah,
Yes,
and I know if you don't remember what led up to this, yes, they're being chased by cops, and yes, in the special editions or like the re-release, Steven Spielberg took out the guns, put in walkie. It was this
bullshit,
huge debate. I know, but
bullshit.
anyhow, but like I said, what led to the shot, an iconic moment. Unforgettable moment.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, definitely something like any '80s, early '80s kids, because this is 1982. So this came out
yeah,
when
dude.
you
I
were
was
born. So
Yeah, basically I
yeah.
was like a year old maybe. I eventually saw it like maybe 2 or 3 years after on Betamax. Uh, I know, no, everyone's like, "What the fuck is Betamax?" But it was a thing. Um, yeah, but it was just disturbing. And I used to run around and scare my little sister with like my ET figure I had. If I ran around and showed it to her, she would literally start screaming and running away. So I hope she's
Uh,
listening because she remembers. I think probably till this day she's still scared of it.
Thank you for watching this video, and let us know in the comments what you thought of these iconic scenes. And if you like what you heard, please visit our channel for more podcasts and videos.